Aya's face went pale. Greater than, they've called the outer circle. Greater than, what does that mean? Aru asked. She looked at him, truly afraid for the first time. Greater than, it means they've sent the ones who don't leave witnesses. Drums. Low. Rhythmic. Like thunder made by human hands. The kind of sound that doesn't come from the earth, but through it. Aru held his breath. Aya's hand gripped his sleeve, fingers trembling. Greater than, what is the outer circle? He asked. She didn't answer at first. Her gaze was distant, her body still. Then she whispered, they are not men. Not anymore. The sound echoed across the river gorge, bouncing off the wet cliffs like a warning meant for the bones. Birds flew from the trees. Even the wind shifted direction. Aru had never heard anything like it. Greater than, we can't stay here, Aya said. They packed what little they had. A handful of roots, 2 flint stones, a torn piece of map Aru had once drawn on a river journey long ago. Aya led the way this time, navigating through narrow deer trails and moss-covered ridges. She moved quickly, but with purpose, like she had done this before. Hours passed. They didn't speak. By afternoon, they reached the ruins of an old monastery, broken arches, headless stone statues, a tree that had grown through the middle of what once was an altar. Aru remembered it from stories his grandfather told, a place where monks had tried to silence the world, only to be silenced themselves. We rest here, Aya said, her voice barely a breath. They ate in silence. The quiet was fragile, like glass. Aru watched her as she chewed without looking at him. Her eyes were scanning the shadows. Even when she drank water, her hand never left the hilt of her knife. What did you mean earlier? Aru finally asked. About them not being men. She paused. The wind moved through the hollow temple like a voice with no speaker. Aya leaned back against a cracked pillar. They were once protectors, guardians of truth. Centuries ago, they gave up the names to protect a secret, the true name of the one who ruled the southern mountains. And why is that important? Aya looked at him. Because that name, it has power. If spoken in the right place, at the right time, it could end their order. End their silence. End their silence. They've controlled people through fear for centuries. Burned villages. Removed memories. You don't know their name, but you've felt them. Every time someone disappeared and no one remembered them. That was the outer circle. Aru stared at her. Aya looked exhausted. I didn't mean to steal the name. I was looking for something else in their archives. But I found it. And once you find it, you become a threat. Aru moved closer. And now I can't unknow it. That night, they didn't sleep. They sat side by side beneath the stars, wrapped in the same blanket, listening. Nothing came. No drums. No footsteps. Only silence. Just before dawn, Aya whispered, if I die, I want you to forget me. Aru turned sharply. Don't say that. You must. Otherwise they'll come for you too. I don't care. You should. I couldn't bear it if they took you because of me. Aru didn't speak for a long time. Then he said, they can erase memory. But they can't erase love. Aya turned toward him. In the faint starlight, her face looked softer. Younger. But her eyes were still full of storms. Then kiss me, she said. Before the sun returns. Aru leaned in. Their lips met, slow at first, then desperate. Like two lives trying to say everything they never dared. It was not lust. It was longing, pain, hope. When the sun rose, it found them curled beside each other, still awake, still silent. But peace does not last when you are hunted. Because as the first birds began to sing, the ground trembled. Not from footsteps, from sound, drums, again. But this time, closer. Aya sat up. They found us. Aru jumped to his feet. How? There's no trail. They don't need trails, Aya said. They follow what's missing. What's missing? Aya stared at him. Me. They ran. Through fog. Through thorn-covered gullies. Aya led, Aru followed. They crossed a frozen stream, breaking ice with their boots. Once, Aru slipped and cut his hand. Blood dripped behind them. Aya tore a piece of her sleeve to wrap it. We can't leave a trail, she said. She took ash from a burnt tree and rubbed it into the blood to hide it. By evening, they reached a cliff. Below, the sea. Vast, cold, grey. Waves crashed like drums of their own. We go down, Aya said. They don't like salt. They don't like salt. They're old, bound to places that don't shift. The sea is alive, it unsettles them. They climbed down together, hands slipping, clothes torn. By the time they reached the shore, the sun had disappeared. A small shack stood at the edge of the rocks. It was broken, but sheltered. They slipped inside, and for a moment, silence. Aya sat by the wall, curled her knees into her chest. Aru sat across from her. I'm sorry, he said. For what? For everything. You didn't ask for this. Aya looked up at him. Neither did you. Aru hesitated. I would choose it again. Even now. Her eyes softened. I wouldn't, she said. The words cut him, but she added, not because I don't love you, but because I do, and I want you to have a life not built on running. Aru crawled over to her. We stop running after this. You don't know that. I don't need to know. I just need you. They held each other. For the first time, Aru thought, what if we survive this? What would our life look like? A little house by the river. Books. Laughter. Maybe even children. He closed his eyes with her in his arms. But the sea does not stay quiet for long. A wave slammed against the shack. Then another. Then, a drumbeat. From the cliff above, Aru ran outside, and saw them. 6 figures. Standing at the edge. Cloaked. Watching. Aya stepped beside him. She took a deep breath. It's time. She pulled a carved stone from her pocket, the size of a walnut, with the ancient symbol etched deep into it. She walked to the sea, stood in the foam, and whispered, a name. Aru couldn't hear it, but the sky did. Lightning split the heavens. The figures above screamed, not like men, like animals caught in fire. And then, silence. Nothing. Aya collapsed in the waves. Aru ran to her. She was breathing, eyes open, but changed. Her voice shook as she said, greater than, the name is gone now. I gave it to the sea. They can't chase what they can't remember. Aru held her, soaking wet, trembling. You ended it. Aya nodded. But now, I don't remember it either. She wept. Because even though she had won, she had given up the only weapon that kept her apart from them. They stayed on the shore until morning. And then, with no more drums behind them, and no more names left to fear, they began to walk. Not to run. To walk. Together. And far behind them, in the cliffs, one figure remained. Cloaked. Watching. But no longer chasing. Just waiting.